my last motorcycle trip, my tank bag fell to the ground and ended up landing on what appears to be the only sticking out part here, which is the little handle, and snapped it off. As you can see, it snapped. So what this means is that I can't move this lever down and out to retract these tabs, which means that you can't get the tank bag off of the tank ring. So I had to contact Givi and find out exactly what part is needed. And this is the part that they told me that I needed to get. And I forget how much it cost, $30-something, I believe. And so it just came today, and this video is just a quick video to show you how to install it. If you look on the inside of the tank bag, you'll see that there's no obvious way to get to the screws. Underneath here, there's some nuts, so there must be a bolt on the inside, 4 of them, on the inside here, going through to, fasten this to the bottom of the tank bag. It so happens that if you really reach down here, you can actually get a grip on the edge, of this, and it comes up like this. It's stuck down. There's a little bit of a sticky residue here, so it's stuck down onto that there, but as you can see, that screw is exposed. So what I'm going to do is pull this up and show you what it looks like underneath. With the round bottom, I don't know what you call that thing there that fits on top of that raised part. With that off and laid sticky side up aside, then I can undo these screws and start the process of removal and installation of the tank ring lock. Each and every one of those screws were slack. Anyway, this is the old part, and there's a disc, a plastic disc that goes between the bag and this assembly here. So just save that disc because you got to reuse it again. So what I'm going to do is, when I'm putting this back together, I'm going to put a little Loctite on those screws just to make sure that they don't walk back. But all those screws were slack, and that came from the factory like that. So it could be that over time that it walked back a bit, each screw. So I'm going to put some Loctite there and make sure that it doesn't do that again, because I don't think that we can pull this this thing off too many times without it losing all its adhesive qualities. So let's go get some Loctite and then install it. These nuts have to be reused in the new locking assembly, so you've got to remove those. I figure what I'm going to do is thread one of those screws into it and then push it out from the backside. So I've got one of the screws threaded in there, and I just got to push this out from the back like that, and I get the nut out. Okay, I'll do that with all 4 and then start the reassembly process. Now this is the new unit here, and what I'm going to do is snug those nuts back into the little holes there by reversing the process that I just used to remove it. So I'll just thread one of the screws into the nut and then pull it down into that hole, and then back off the screw right out, and then start assembling. It's easier when you've got those nuts all snugged up in place in the holes there, so you just got to kind of worry about threading the screws in from the inside of the tank bag. It helps to put a bit of masking tape across these strips to keep them down as you're installing, because they like to fall out. So just stick that across there like this, and that should hold them in place. And the same with the other side, just like that, hold them in place, because you're going to be flipping this upside down, so you don't want those things falling out of place. 2 of the screws protruding from the inside, I'm going to stick this plastic disc on there and then attach those two nuts onto the the underside of the assembly, putting on the assembly and then putting the nuts on. That way at least it's held on to the tank bag when I actually finish the other 2 screws. I got the blue Loctite on, and I'm going to thread the last screw through the hole, and I already did the other 3. There's a reason why it wasn't tightened up all that tight, and that's because this thing here is only plastic, so it's basically acting as a washer, and it's not very strong, so you can't tighten it too tight or else the screw will pull right through. I could put some washers under there, but I figure with the Loctite it'll be all right. With all four screws in place, it's just a matter of putting that sticky liner on top of this, just like how it was before, and working it down and flatten it out without getting any wrinkles, hopefully. Putting that back in, it's got a little bit of a, I can feel that plastic strip underneath there, but anyway, just work it back down. I got a little bit of a wrinkle here, so I'm probably going to pull that up and reseat it, but that's it. That's essentially how to replace the tank ring. And let's see, there it is underneath there. Of course, I don't have to say this, but maybe I should. You just got to make sure that you put this on the correct side, which is the right side, and not on this side here. You could have rotated it back and put it, although it doesn't really matter actually when you think about it. I mean, so in this case you pull backwards to to cause those things to retract, and if you had it on this side you just push forward, so it doesn't really matter actually. But that's it. That's how you replace the tank ring lock on this Givi tank bag, thereby saving yourself a whole bunch of money and not having to buy another tank bag.